house with no exit. Mia arrived at the estate just as the sun began to dip below the horizon, the sky painted with shades of deep orange and purple. The house towered before her, its silhouette framed by gnarled trees that whispered in the evening breeze. She had been hired to look after this old mansion while the owners were away for a few weeks, a straightforward job, or so she thought. Inside, the air smelled faintly of dust and forgotten memories, the silence stretching thick like a heavy curtain. As she explored the foyer, she noticed something strange. None of the doors seemed to lead outside. Instead, they opened only to reveal more rooms, each with walls that echoed faint whispers she couldn't quite catch. First night was restless. Mia tried each door systematically, hoping to find an exit, but every path looped back inside the house. The layout defied logic, hallways twisted and turned in impossible ways, and familiar furniture appeared in new places each time she passed. The house seemed alive, breathing around her, changing when she wasn't looking. Shadows flickered just beyond her peripheral vision, but whenever she turned, there was nothing, only the creak of old wood and the soft hum of the house settling. Sleep was elusive, replaced by a growing sense of being watched, as if unseen eyes were tracing her every move. By the third day, Mia's sense of time blurred. Clocks stopped working, and no matter how she tried, she couldn't tell if it was morning or night. The house's whispers grew louder, soft murmurs that seemed to call her name, mixed with faint laughter that chilled her blood. Doors she had locked the day before now stood ajar, inviting her to step through. With every choice, the house toyed with her, presenting familiar scenes that twisted into unsettling versions of themselves. Portraits on the walls seemed to watch her, their painted eyes following her with quiet accusation. The house was no longer just a building. It was a maze designed to keep her inside. One evening, drawn by a soft glow, Mia found herself in a room she hadn't seen before. The walls were lined with floor-to-ceiling mirrors, each reflecting not only her image, but something else faint, shadowy figures lurking behind her reflection, moving independently. She spun around quickly, but the room was empty. Panic rose inside her as the mirrors began to fog, and whispered voices filled the air, urging her to stay, to never leave. She realized then that the house fed on her fear, growing stronger the more she resisted. Escape was not just difficult, it was impossible unless she understood the house's true nature. Desperation led Mia to search for clues within the house's dusty library. Among ancient tomes and brittle papers, she uncovered a faded journal from a previous caretaker. The entries spoke of the house as a living entity, one that trapped souls to feed its endless hunger. The journal's author described their own slow descent into madness, warning that the only way to break free was to confront the house's heart, a hidden chamber beneath the foundation where the boundary between reality and nightmare blurred. Armed with this knowledge, Mia steeled herself, knowing that what awaited her below might change everything. Following a narrow, spiral staircase concealed behind a false wall, Mia descended into the cold depths beneath the mansion. The air grew heavier, thick with whispers that echoed off the stone walls. At the chamber's center was an ornate, cracked mirror framed with twisting vines carved in dark wood. As Mia approached, mirror's surface rippled like water, revealing scenes of previous caretakers lost to the house's grasp. The house seemed to pulse, its presence overwhelming. Gathering all her courage, Mia whispered into the mirror, demanding release. A moment of silence fell before the surface shattered inward and the walls trembled. Then, slowly, the doors around her began to open this time, leading outside to the fresh night air. Emerging from the mansion, Mia blinked under the starry sky, the cool breeze a sharp contrast to the stifling air inside. The house stood silent behind her, its windows dark and still. Though she was free, a lingering unease remained, a whisper at the edge of her consciousness, a reminder that some places do not forget, and some stories never truly end. Mia looked back once more before walking away, the house's shadow stretching long and dark behind her, waiting patiently for the next visitor to lose their way within its walls.